I think it's under control. I'll tell you what.
How? 1,000 Americans are dying a day.
They are dying. That's true. And it is what it is.
At this point, most Americans are used to Donald Trump's callous nature, especially when it comes to the death and destruction caused by coronavirus and his inability to provide any type of leadership or response to this pandemic that would save people's lives. During a recent interview with Axios' Jonathan Swan, Donald Trump gave us even more insight into just how little he cares about the lives of Americans, the lives of Americans who have already died, and the lives of Americans that could be lost moving forward. Let's go to another portion of his conversation.
The figure I look at is death. And death is going up now. Okay, and it's 1,000 a day.
If you look at death.
Yeah, it's going up again.
Let's look.
Daily death.
Take a look at some of these charts.
I'd love to.
We're gonna look.
Let's look.
And if you look at death.
Yeah, it's started to go up again.
Well, right here, the United States is lowest. In numerous categories, we're lower than the world.
Lower than the world?
Lower than
what is that?
Europe.
In what?
Look.
In what?
Take a look. Right here. Here's case death.
Oh, you're doing death as a proportion of cases. I'm talking about death as a proportion of population. That's where the US is really bad.
Well,
much worse than South Korea, Germany, etc.
You can't do that. You have
Why
to go.
can't I do that?
You have to go by. You have to go by where. Look, here is the United States. You have to go by the cases. The cases.
Why not as a proportion of population?
Well, Donald Trump did slip a little bit of truth in that statement when he said that the United States is lower than the world. And if he's referring to how poorly we've handled this pandemic compared to other countries around the world, he would be correct. In fact, let me just go to some of the updated numbers on this pandemic in the United States, because Jonathan Swan is correct. 1,000 people, oftentimes more than 1,000 people die a day as a result of coronavirus. And currently we have 158,000 total deaths. And the US population is 323.2 million people. So about 0.05% of the population has died as a result of this pandemic. Now, I do want to just quickly go to the next video, because Donald Trump seems to be under the impression that we're doing far better, far better than anyone else when it comes to testing, when it comes to saving people's lives. That is not the case. That is not true. Let's take a look at his argument and we'll debunk it.
Well, look at South Korea, for example. 51 million population, 300 deaths. It's like, it's crazy compared to
that.
I do. It's
you
on the.
Don't know that.
You think they're faking their statistics, South Korea?
I won't get into that because they have a very good relationship with the country. But you don't know that, and they have spikes. Look, here's
Germany
one.
low, 9,000.
Here's one right here, United States. You take the number of cases.
Okay.
Now look, we're last, meaning we're first.
Last. I don't know what we're first in. As a what?
Take a look again. It's cases.
Okay.
And we have cases. Because of the testing.
1,000 Americans are dying a day, but I understand on cases, it's different.
No, but you're not reporting it correctly, Jonathan.
I think I am, but.
If you take a look at this other chart, look, this is our testing, I believe. This is the testing, yeah.
Yeah, we do more tests.
No, wait a minute. Well, don't we get credit for that? And because we do more tests, we have more cases.
All right, so since the comparison between the United States and South Korea came up, I thought it was important to actually share the data and the numbers with you. So let me just go back to the previous graphic, because it's important to contextualize how well South Korea has handled this. So again, in the United States, there have been 158,000 total deaths as a result of coronavirus. Now the total US population is 328.2 million people. And so the percentage of deaths accounts for 0.05% of the population, okay? Now let's take a look at South Korea, where the population is 51.64 million people. When it comes to the number of deaths, 301. So what percentage of their population died as a result of coronavirus? 0.0006%. We are not doing better than South Korea. We are not the best when it comes to testing. This country has been a complete and utter failure. This government has failed the American people, and people are dying left and right, more than 1,000 people a day. And Donald Trump refuses to take any responsibility for it. Far worse than that, he refuses to acknowledge what the reality of the situation is. Aida.
So first of all, I just want to apologize for laughing because I don't want people to think that I am laughing at the situation, but laughing at how ridiculous it is that that is the leader of the free world. And if I were you, Donald Trump, I would hate Obama too, because Obama can put sentences together. He knows how to pull up a chart and read it. And, I just understand. Happy birthday, Obama. I just wanted to say that I'm embarrassed. But I've taken note of the people who say only this number of people have died. They are all people who have not lost someone to COVID. It's very easy to say only this number of people have died because you haven't been directly affected by that. If Ivanka died of COVID, America was shut down until that Donald Trump could figure out how to find a cure for that. And even with her, I don't wish death upon her. But what I'm saying is, but look at the people who are dying of COVID. Look at the numbers of the people who are dying. They're Black and brown, and in disproportionate numbers. Not to undermine the number of white people who have died, because they're all human lives. But where are all the all lives matter people right now, while this man is employing this harsh lack of it's apathy. It's really apathy. And
Absolutely.
The only reason he's sitting down to talk about it is because it gives him an opportunity to speak and to be seen. But it's not because it's about this. Every single interview in the last couple of weeks that Donald Trump has done nothing but show how small his mental capacity is. From the haiku that he recited the other day to prove that his mental capacity was there, to this pulling up this chart and saying we are better than the world. It's like somebody that doesn't know that Africa is a continent and thinks it's a country. We are doing better than the world. Go ahead, Anna.
I mean, brilliant points all around. You're absolutely right. And the one commonality among people who have died from coronavirus, of course, they tend to be older. Of course, disproportionately, this virus has killed people of color. But a through line that you'll notice is poverty. Yeah. People who don't even have the financial means for an emergency, much less medical bills associated with coronavirus. Many people don't even bother to go to the hospital. I mean, we had a long discussion about how uniquely disadvantaged this country is when it comes to a pandemic because of how broken our healthcare system is. And he keeps promising a revamped healthcare model, which of course he hasn't delivered on. And to be quite honest, I wouldn't want him to deliver on it, because his idea of fixing things, I mean, we've seen what his idea of fixing things looks like. And this country has further devolved in every single possible way. I also want to note that one thing that South Korea did that we did not do. South Korea's COVID-19 response strategy sits atop 3 pillars, reports The Atlantic. Fast and free testing, expansive tracing technology, something that we didn't even attempt to do. Okay, and mandatory isolation of the most severe cases. Now, and by the way, in South Korea, and this is partly a cultural thing, there is no issue regarding wearing masks. There's no fight about that. And so the culture is different, the leadership is different, and more importantly, I think this is another through line that you're gonna notice. Countries that have really handled this virus well understand the importance of community. They understand the importance of their, the lives of their peers, of their neighbors, of their families. They value this collectivist approach. Whereas in the United States, individualism has been drilled into people's heads so much that these morons running around shooting people up because they're being asked to wear a mask think that they're fighting for our liberties and our freedoms. That's what we're dealing with right now. And Aida, I want to just quickly go to this next clip, and when we come back, I want to hear your thoughts.
I think you misunderstand me. I'm not criticizing your ability to draw a crowd. Are you kidding me? I've covered you for 5 years. You draw massive crowds, you get huge ratings. I'm asking about the public health.
And I canceled another one. I had to cancel it. Right. We're gonna have a great crowd in New Hampshire, and I canceled it for the same reason.
But here's the question. I've covered you for a long time. I've gone to your rallies. I've talked to your people. They love you. They listen to you. They listen to every word you say. They hang on your every word. They don't listen to me or the media or Fauci. They think we're fake news. They want to get their advice from you. And so when they hear you say everything's under control, don't worry about wearing masks, I mean, these are people, many of them are older people,
What's
Mr. President.
What's your definition of control? Yeah, Under the
It's giving them a false
circumstances
sense of
right now,
security.
I think it's under control. I'll tell you what.
How? 1,000 Americans are dying a day.
They are dying. That's true. And it is what it is. But that doesn't mean we aren't doing everything we can. It's under control as much as you can control it. This is a horrible plague that beset us.
You really think this is as much as we can control?
All these people are dying, but it is what it is, according to Donald Trump.
You know, the only thing, not even the camera work was under control for that thing. That looked like a sketch. That didn't even, the cameraman was all shaky because he probably was laughing. But you know what I wanted to say, Anna, is I've been tested for COVID 3 times in the last couple of months, or in the last month and a half. One test was $50, one test was $125, and one test was $250. And a lot of those costs were assumed by the production companies that I'm working with so that I can work. But talk about somebody who in the moment of this pandemic hasn't been working. Let's not forget the incredible amount of false positives that have been claimed by the blood test. Like we have a serious problem with quality control, consistency, and let's just talk about it, economics. A person who hasn't been working since the beginning of March, who might be afraid that they have COVID, they don't want to go to an overwhelmed hospital because they may very well leave with it, going to a private source to get tested, the price, they're gouging. Like the same test that I got for $50 in one place was available in another place for $250. That's a real big difference. So how is the average American who right now is fighting for unemployment, probably fighting a landlord or the mortgage companies and the banks, and has to worry about COVID? Only a person who is dripped in privilege would be oblivious to the realities of what it is to be scared to have COVID right now.
If you thought, all right, maybe Donald Trump misspoke, right? Maybe he's not as callous as you'd expect him to be as a progressive. Well, this next clip really, solidified his lack of interest, his total apathy when it comes to the well-being of his fellow Americans, because he doesn't even know how many people have died. Take a look.
You changed your message this week in terms of you canceled the Jacksonville convention. You said wear a mask. You're saying, that it's going to get worse before it gets better. It's not something you like to say. I know you said that. The big question,
not get worse like the original flow. You understand that, but
I hope not. It's 1,000.
Now, if you look, Arizona's going down.
If I could just finish my question.
Texas is going down and Florida's going down.
The question is, are you going to, even some of your own aides wonder whether you would stick to that message until election day, whether in a week or two you won't say, right, we've got to reopen again. We can't do this stuff anymore, that you'll get bored of talking about the virus and go back to that sort of cheerleading?
I never get bored of talking about this. It's too big a thing. And again,
so will you stick to that message?
By China, it should have been stopped by China, and it wasn't.
But now it's here.
We have
you're the
it
president.
here. And I think I'm
You're
very consistent. No, this is a very serious thing. Do you think we have 140,000 people at this moment? This is a very, very serious situation.
So he doesn't know, Ida, the exact number of, and by the way, every report that you see tends to round up the number of people who have died, right? So you don't usually get the exact, but you should have a better sense as president of the United States, the number of Americans who have died as a result of your lack of leadership. But he doesn't care. He doesn't care. And to be quite honest with you guys, I'm tired of the repetition. Like we already know he's racist. We already know he doesn't care about our lives. We know that his mental capacity is questionable, to say the least. Okay, I'm being generous here. And every time someone in the mainstream media interviews him, it's like, brava, brava, you have uncovered what an idiot Donald Trump is. Yeah, we know. So the question, like, how many times are we gonna cover this? We know what he is, we know what he does, we know what he cares about, and the only thing he cares about is himself. So congratulations, Axios, you did what a million other news organizations did. Reveal what a piece of crap Donald Trump really is. Now the question is, what happens now? I would love to see some accountability when it comes to members of Congress who would rather tweet about it then go and do something about it. That's my issue.
Yeah. When he said Florida and Texas, they're going down. Yeah, if those governors keep listening to you, they are going to go down. Absolutely going to go down. The thing is that we have to really remember that in November, a lot of people who pretend that they don't like Donald Trump will still vote for him, right? Because there are a lot of people who support Donald Trump in secret. And at this point, the only reason that I think that they could possibly be supporting him is because they're either white nationalists and racists. Because what else is he offering anybody else in the United States who is not in the top 1%? What is he offering anybody else who is not part of the, big pharma or the big bank industry? What is he offering you other than that he's gonna get rid of the immigrants, that he's gonna let Black people continue to get murdered? Like, what is he offering the rest of the country that is not that belongs to the group who directly benefit from Donald Trump's corruption in office, right? So so we have to really mobilize ourselves, and this apathy that has stricken us, because this really looks bad for us as America with our options, but we have to get rid of that. Because that right there came to destroy and ruin what we know as any semblance of a democracy does not stand a chance with Donald Trump in office, trying to push an election back, taking rule of law and stepping all over it. So at this point, you have to ask yourselves, is your healthcare is important? Is your unemployment, this pandemic? You have to weigh all those options. And if hating a Black person weighs more than that for you, then you need to go. Because at this point, all hands need to be on deck to get that out of the White House. Because according to history, our democracy's time is up, right? So we got to fight for it at all costs. We got to reshape it. We got to redefine it, because they have turned it into trash. That is why someone like this is in office, right? But we have to fight for our now he idolizes dictators. He befriends them. He does not speak publicly against them. And we're under this illusion that he's trying to uphold our Constitution and our democracy. How so? By breaking all the rules that he's not supposed to be breaking and trying to postpone our election? That sounds like something that happens in one of those countries. That doesn't happen here.
Yeah, and our system of government is flawed. The whole notion of checks and balances, falls apart once you have feckless representatives and senators in Congress. And that includes Republicans who have gone along with everything Trump has done. I'm looking at you, Susan Collins, you're pathetic. Yep. And you should be voted out of office. But it also includes Democrats who think that their Twitter activism should be a good substitute to actually holding Trump accountable and doing what it takes through our legal system, through the way our government is structured to hold him accountable. But he definitely does help them raise money, doesn't he?
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.